Morning, my friends. I'm here enjoying my tea this morning, and I'm really thinking about, the major victory yesterday in the lead generation world. With one, the FCC taking the initiative on their own accord to postpone the one-to-one consent that was going to go into effect Monday. So they said, hey, you know what? There's still a lot of issues here. And on top of that, they were fighting the Insurance Marketing Coalition, and double victory because the Insurance Marketing Coalition won their appeal. So for now, we're going to be able to continue to have cheaper leads because, again, prior written consent, I can buy leads from any lead vendor that has, in my case, final expense leads. I can buy leads from that lead vendor. And even though my consent is not my name, my products, my services, but I sell final expense, so I can legally call that lead. I can text message, use, AI, CRM. I can do that. And for all these years, that makes it easier for the single agent to buy leads and also participate in the business. So the FCC's one-to-one consent said the single seller is the only one that can call. So all of a sudden now, a lot of marketing companies were going to be out of business because their model depends on selling to not just you, but others. But as I'm sitting here on a Saturday brewing on this, drinking my tea, it's a short victory for now. It's a band-aid to the bigger problem. And what I mean by that, the main reason that these laws got to these extremes is because of the constant harassing that American consumers get every single day. Think about that. Myself, before 8 a.m., I'm getting my cell phone bombarded. And this is my private cell phone. I'm getting several calls before 8 a.m. That's a problem. The spoofing, and I could go on and on and on. All of this harassing has made it so that TCPA litigation is one of the most lucrative for lawyers right now. So this problem, again, for now, we got a band-aid of time before the FCC comes back with a new set of rules that they will present. And who knows who challenges those. But the point is this. Now we have the government front and center looking at our industry, which is lead generation. So my thoughts, my thinking on this is that I believe that as a whole, people are going to realize where the major problems are coming from. Yes, you're going to have some people that don't have no training on TCPA, DNC laws. You're going to have that. You're going to have that type of people. Well, you address that through training. If you have an agency, your job is not only to train these people on how to sell, but now your job is to show them the TCPA, DNC guidelines. That's your job. That's going to be one way to mitigate this craziness when it comes to unsolicited phone calls, unsolicited texts. I mean, guys, last year myself, I did over 6 figures in cash deposits from settlements. And most of these companies had nothing in place really for training their staff on these TCPA, DNC little guidelines. But here's the real issue. The government's going to really start to see who is causing most of these problems. And I'm going to say it right now. It's call centers, in most cases BPOs overseas, that one, are cold calling American consumers. And there's nothing wrong with cold calling, but they're not registered at telemarketing companies in the USA. So a lot of them are freelance telemarketers. I believe that's going to change. Second, most of these centers use VDialer, and in most cases, VDialing dialing systems are not in compliance with TCPA's position on what an auto dialer is. Again, most of these dialers are in that category. So you can't use that type of dialer to cold call. Caller IDs. So many BPOs, they buy their caller IDs, and they every month or every 2 months they get a set of new caller IDs. They spoof, and we're talking about thousands upon thousands of numbers every single day. And because a lot of these groups are not fully registered with the FCC's Do Not Call official registry that costs roughly $25,000 a year to have, then a lot of these overseas BPOs rely on DNC mechanisms to check for do not call phone numbers. So they scrub their massive lists of phone numbers against these subscription-based do not call registries. And in most cases, those registries are not accurate. And when you don't have accurate information because you're not following, the FCC suggestion of registering with them, now you got the exposure there in terms of a do not call violation, which triggers a TCPA violation. So again, guys, this whole one-to-one consent, for all of you guys that work really hard to make the changes in your company, to make that extra investment with your marketing groups, this is not lost, because bottom line, whatever the government decides to do in the near future, they're still going to have to address the crazy amount of unsolicited phone calls that Americans get every day. And I do believe that now we're going to be able to address the real problems of the lead generation industry, not just from digital marketing, but I'm talking about the telecommunications industry. And I think it's all going to be for the best. Do you guys really think that now that the one-to-one doesn't go into effect, that the FCC's simply going to stay there and not do something about the major problem that exists from all these harassing calls? As an old man myself, I'll tell you right now, it ain't going anywhere. For all we know, there's going to be some new laws that might ban our ability to do business with overseas centers. Companies like ours that have worked with overseas companies and done it good, we'll lose those privileges because of the bad actors that don't care, that cut the corners and are ruining it for everybody. So if you're a BPO center, right now is the time you need to be talking with your staff and making sure that your whole cold calling system is legitimate. If you're truly buying opt-in data, make sure that data is legitimate, not fabricated data like we've all seen over the course of the last few years. So again, guys, we're waiting to see what happens, just like you, but stay compliant. Peace.